Welcome to the reality check. You are about to dismantle everything you thought you knew about money. We aren't here to talk about skipping your morning latte to save $3. We are here to decode the mental algorithms used by the world's wealthiest people to build empires. You will learn why working harder is often a trap, how to leverage other people's time, and the mathematical magic of compound interest. By the end of this guide, you will have the blueprint to stop trading your time for a paycheck and start building a legacy. The uncomfortable truth. Look around. Whether you are in New York or a small town in the Midwest, the reality is stark. Only 5% of the population controls 95% of the wealth. This isn't an accident, it is a pattern. What is the real cause of this gap? It's not luck, it's not inheritance, and it's certainly not just about working harder. The difference isn't in the wallet, it's in the mind. It is the operating system they use to navigate the world. If you are listening to this, you have felt that gap. You've worked hard, but haven't broken through. This audiobook will expose the exact reasons why and give you the tools to fix it. You have the potential to be the first millionaire in your family. The cycle stops with you. The secret key: people or money. Here is the unwritten rule of wealth that the middle class ignores. You cannot become rich by working by yourself. There are only two scalable ways to build serious wealth. You either learn to leverage people using their time, or you learn to leverage money using financial capital. The wealthy master both. Let's learn how. Part 1. The middle class trap: why hard work isn't enough. Chapter 1.1. The 8-hour trap. Let's look at the typical middle-class mindset. Picture a guy named Steve. Steve earns $4,000 a month working 9 to 5. Steve wants to get ahead. So what's his plan? He thinks, if I work 12 hours instead of 8, or maybe pick up shifts on weekends, I'll make more money. He's not wrong. He will make more money. Maybe he bumps his income to $6,000. But Steve will never be wealthy. Why? Because the wealthy understand a fundamental constraint. Everyone only has 24 hours in a day.
The middle class tries to solve a financial problem by cramming more labor into a limited bucket of time. They trade their most valuable asset, their life energy, for a linear increase in cash. They are capped. The rich don't try to win the game of hours. They change the game entirely. They stop asking, how can I work more? And start asking, how can I get paid without being there? Chapter 1.2. The trap of inflated liabilities. The second trap is inflated liabilities. Here is the classic scenario. A young professional gets a promotion. They are now making $80,000 a year instead of $50,000. What is the first thing that happens? They lease a BMW instead of driving their Honda. They upgrade to a luxury apartment. They put a $3,000 vacation on a credit card because they earned it. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your money, but when you buy these things before you are wealthy, you are buying liabilities, things that lose value the moment you touch them. This creates the high-income, high-expense trap. They might look rich on Instagram, but their net worth is zero.
They live paycheck to paycheck, often using credit cards by the 25th of the month just to buy groceries. Their savings rate is zero. And if they do save, they let it sit in a bank account, losing value to inflation rather than investing it to grow. Chapter 1.3. The fear of risk. The final nail in the coffin is fear. The typical family teaches their children that the stock market is a casino. They say, don't gamble your money, you could lose everything. The truth? The wealthy look at the stock market not as a casino, but as a vehicle. They understand that over the long term, the market has historically provided returns of 8 to 12%. By avoiding the market out of fear, the middle class guarantees a loss, losing to inflation and losing the opportunity cost of growth. Investing is not gambling. It is wealth preservation. Part 2. The compound leverage, making time and money work for you. Chapter 2.1. Time leverage, cloning your workday. We established that you cannot get rich working alone, so the wealthy make a choice: leverage people or leverage money. Let's look at time leverage. Instead of working 8 hours himself, a business owner hires 10 employees.
He buys 8 hours of labor from each of them. Suddenly, his business isn't operating on his 8 hours. It is operating on 80 hours of productivity per day. He has broken the time barrier. Here is the math. If he pays an employee $4,000 a month, he expects that employee to generate at least $12,000 in value. The surplus goes to the owner. If the owner nets just $1,000 in profit from each of his 10 employees, he makes $10,000 a month in passive income. The lesson is simple. Wealthy people build systems where other people's time generates their freedom. Chapter 2.2: Money Leverage, the Eighth Wonder. If you don't want to manage employees, you must master money leverage. The wealthy do not let money sleep. They know that every dollar is a little worker that should be out there recruiting more dollars. The goal is consistent growth, aiming to grow a portfolio by roughly 12% a year. Albert Einstein famously called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." The critical factor here isn't just the interest rate, it is time. The earlier you start, the more dramatic the results. Chapter 2.3: Case Study. Time beats money. Let's prove that time matters more than the amount you invest. Consider 3 investors, all getting a 10% return. Mike starts young at age 20. He invests just $300 a month for 40 years. Total value at 60, $1.9 million. John waits until age 30. To catch up, he invests double, $600 a month for 30 years. Total value at 60, $1.3 million. Dave waits until age 40. He panics and invests heavily, $1,200 a month for 20 years. Total value at 60, $900,000. The conclusion is shocking. Mike, who invested the least amount of money, ended up with the most wealth, simply because he gave his money 40 years to compound. Dave worked the hardest, saved the most aggressively, but still ended up with half of what Mike has. This is the power of starting early. But here's the kicker. If Mike had invested in his financial education and bumped his return from 10% to 15%, his $1.9 million would have turned into $9.3 million. Start early. Learn the game. Chapter 2.4: The Business Approach, Aggressive Growth. While passive investing is powerful, the ultra-wealthy often start with active, aggressive multiplication. They don't wait for the market to give them 10%. They manufacture returns of 25% or more through business deals. Take a real estate developer. He doesn't just buy a house and rent it out. He takes $8 million to buy land and build a luxury complex. If he builds 4 units and sells them for $12 million total, he makes $4 million in profit. If this takes 2 years, he effectively earned a 25% annual return. Now watch the magic. If he takes that capital and reinvests it into the next deal, earning that same 25% consistently, the wealth explodes. In just 12 years, that initial $8 million can turn into over $116 million. Business owners don't settle for average. They hunt for deals where they can force appreciation. Part 3: The Path to the Leap, Building Capability. Chapter 3.1: The Prerequisite, Seed Capital. We have talked about investing, but there's a brutal reality. To leverage money, you must have money to start. You cannot compound zero. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, asset allocation is a distraction. Your number one priority is to build a high-income stream. Your first target is a monthly income of $10,000. This is the leap.
You cannot save your way to wealth if you make $3,000 a month. You must increase your shovel. This requires acquiring a high-income skill, something the market values, like sales, coding, or consulting. Chapter 3.2, The Winning Model. Pay yourself first. Once you hit that $10,000 mark, don't upgrade your lifestyle. Don't buy the Tesla. Adopt the 50-50 rule. Live on 50% of your income, $5,000, and invest the other 50%. This is paying yourself first. Before you pay Netflix or the landlord, move $5,000 into your investment account. Let's run the numbers.
If you invest $5,000 a month for 10 years at a 15% return, you will have over $1.3 million in just a decade. You are a millionaire in 10 years. If you stop contributing after 10 years, but let that money ride for another 20 years, it grows to $22 million. And if you become a sophisticated investor and push your returns to 24%, that initial hustle turns into over $300 million over a lifetime. This is not fantasy, this is math, but it requires discipline. Chapter 3.3, Capability versus Money. Investors say money makes money, but for entrepreneurs, the truth is capability makes money. Many aspiring founders think their only problem is a lack of capital. They say, if I just had a $100,000 loan, I could blow this up. This is a lie. If you lack the strategy, the systems, and the leadership ability, injecting money will only accelerate your failure. You will just burn cash faster. Consider two founders. Founder A inherits money. He rents a fancy office and hires a bloated staff before he has a product. He has money, but no capability. Within 2 years, he's bankrupt.
Founder B starts with zero. She hustles. She learns sales. She builds a product in her garage. She has capability. Money eventually floods in because money follows value. Stop chasing the output, the money. Start obsessing over the inputs, quality, strategy, systems, and leadership. When you master the inputs, the output takes care of itself. Chapter 3.4, Executing the Leap. If you are an employee earning $50,000 a year, you will never get to $200,000 by just working harder. A 3% annual raise barely covers inflation. You are running in place. To make the leap, shift from being a maintainer to a hunter. Constantly upskill. Ask yourself, what problem can I solve that is worth $200,000 to a company? Stop looking for jobs. Start looking for opportunities with exponential upside. Commission-based roles, equity, or side hustles you can scale. Don't wait for a raise, create one. Part 4, Clarity of Purpose Beyond the Money. Chapter 4.1, The 4 Goals of Business. Society loves to celebrate the giants. We are obsessed with billion-dollar valuations. This creates a dangerous illusion that if your business isn't massive, you have failed. But not everyone needs to build an empire. You must define success on your own terms. Generally, there are 4 types of entrepreneurs. First, the identity-driven. They want autonomy. They want to make $5,000 a month just so they never have to ask a boss for permission to take a vacation. Second, the income-driven. They want a lifestyle upgrade. They want to hit $30,000 a month to drive a nice car and provide for their family. Third, the financial freedom-driven. For them, the business is just an engine. They pour the cash flow into assets like real estate. Their goal is to never have to work again. Fourth, the legacy-driven. These are the empire builders who want to build an institution that outlives them. Listen to your soul, not the noise of the world. Know your game. Chapter 4.2, The Trap of Vanity. When people chase fame and followers, they are driven by optics, the desire to look successful rather than be successful.
I have seen founders sell a boring, profitable business making millions in profit just to start a hype startup that loses money but gets them invited to conferences. They traded peace for stress. Bad trade. We see this in personal spending too. People buy luxury cars for the unboxing video on Instagram. They throw lavish weddings to impress people they don't even like. Remember, if you are doing it to prove something to someone else, it is not a business, it is a performance, and performances are expensive. Real wealth is quiet. Real wealth is freedom. Chapter 4.3, Pure versus Impure Fuel. What drives you? To sustain the long journey of wealth, your engine must run on pure fuel. Pure fuel is energy derived from love, contribution, and the desire to solve a problem. Think of the father working hard for his children. That is love. It burns clean. Impure fuel is dark energy. It is driven by revenge, jealousy, or the need to prove the doubters wrong. It is the desire to slap a wad of cash on the table in front of the teacher who said you would fail. Dark energy is powerful. It can make you your first million, but it is dirty fuel. It burns you out.
Even if you get the money, you will feel empty. Ask yourself, why do I want what I want? Ensure your ladder is leaning against the right wall. Part 5. Conclusion. The call to action. Chapter 5.1. The Two Pillars. Knowledge without execution is merely entertainment. To break the cycle, focus on two things immediately. Number 1. Invest the maximum. Stop saving what is left after spending and start spending what is left after investing. Get your money into the market today. Number 2. Seek the leap. Do not settle for small raises. Aggressively acquire skills that allow you to double your income. Move from employee to owner, or from low-value employee to high-value expert. Chapter 5.2. Where to invest. You might ask, where do I put the money? While I cannot give specific advice, here is the hierarchy. High risk, high reward, the equity market, stocks, for long-term growth. Medium risk, corporate bonds or debt funds. Low risk, real estate, gold, and government bonds. The vehicle matters less than the habit. Just start. Chapter 5.3. The Legacy of Dynastic Wealth. Let me leave you with a vision. Imagine you make the leap. You build a high income. You decide to invest $10,000 a month into a diversified portfolio, averaging a conservative 10% return. And let's say you build a family culture where this pot of money is never touched, only added to, for 99 years, passing from you to your children and to their children. Do you know what that becomes? In 1 century, that account would hold over $6 billion. That is not just retirement money. That is power. That is the ability to build universities, hospitals, and change history for your bloodline. Every wealthy dynasty started with one person. One person who decided to stop eating all their seed corn. Your mindset is a seed bank. The middle class eats their seeds today. The wealthy plant them. They let them grow into forests that feed generations. You now have the blueprint. You understand that hard work alone is a trap. You understand leverage, and you understand that time is your most precious asset. You are now in the top 1% of knowledge. It is up to you to join the top 1% of execution. Don't wait for tomorrow. The clock is ticking, and compounding is waiting. Go out there, plant your seeds, and build your freedom. Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Mindset.